Welcome back to Ultra Morons. I'm your host, as usual, Lane, joined with
Connor here again.
And we're going to, in this episode, talk about White Scars and the Path of Heaven, is what it's called, which is how they get back to Terra.
Okay.
So, first thing we're going to start off with is Callium, which is a system with a warp gate. Basically, Mass Effect relay, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a choke point that sits between it's their off-ramp on the highway to get to Terra, but it's kind of blocked off. If you block this off, they have to go all the way around now. So it's one of the major routes there.
Okay, and it's blocked off by like the warp, is that?
It's blocked up kind of by the warp, but it's also blocked off by Emperor Children.
Okay, got it.
So they're waiting there for them because it's like, well, if they want to get to here fast, they have to go through the here.
Right, okay.
So there's a fight there with a guy named Ravash Cario, and I have a picture of him here. He is the Emperor Children guy. He is something called a Palatine Blade, which means he's one of the best sword fighters they have.
Mm.
And I always find it interesting in 40K, sword fighters, because you have guns.
Right.
It's like, you don't really think about it because you're like, yeah, whatever, it's just a thing. But it's like, wouldn't you always just use a gun? But I guess if you have armor like they do, sometimes a sword is better. And because the sword also has like a power field, and the power field on the sword can cut through armor better than a gun could. So it's like, they're on scale, unlike regular human swords, where it's like, I can just shoot you from over here and you're dead.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, but your armor is like 14 layers of plate armor, where it's like, I could try to shoot you, but it might not kill you.
Yeah. Are you saying like the swords are kind of almost like lightsaber-esque?
Yes.
Okay.
For them. I mean, chain swords aren't. They're just chainsaw swords.
Okay.
But those can just, cut through things pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Chain axes. Also, it's just cool. I think it just kind of comes down to that.
Yeah, adds to the aesthetic.
Right. It's just cool to have a sword. If your gun runs out of ammo, well, he's got a sword.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess it really is probably what it's for.
It is kind of funny, like, to think that they use all the swords and stuff, because I know, like, I think we've talked about, like, bolters and stuff where they literally explode, and they're, like, massive bullets. It's like...
Yeah, they're size of, like... They're not... Some people say, like, soda can size. They're not that big, but they're kind of the size of, like... They're double the size of a 50 caliber bullet.
Yeah.
So they're, like, almost the size of, like, 3 of your fingers, really.
Which is insane.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And it hits you, and then it's called mass reactive, so when it hits you into the mass, it hits, and then it detonates. Blows a chunk out of you. So it's real... Yeah, you don't want that hitting you. But if you're wearing the ceramite armor, which most Space Marines wear, they can usually handle a couple shots. Like we talked about, Gilliman got hit, 40-something times?
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't that much, but he got hit a lot when they're trying to assassinate him. So it's like, it's weird. A human gets hit with it, though, they're gone. I mean, they're paste.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if I got in Space Marine 2 yet, but, sometimes you just fight, regular cultist humans, and then you just, run through them.
Yeah.
And they turn to paste, and you're like, oh, yeah, I forget. Walking tank.
Yeah.
So, yes. They have the sword. He's one of the best duelists that they have. And also, world eaters love using chain axes and chain swords because it's just, that's their aesthetic. It's just getting in your face and smashing you. So,
right.
It's also that, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sario, he's Emperor's Children Palatine Blade. And he holds the rank of Perfector, which is just a position, special, really. I mean, it's special, but it's not like this super elaborate position.
Yeah, like a captain type of thing.
Yeah, it's you hold in a way.
Yeah.
So he walks into Eidolons Court unarmed, and he walks past 100 retainers. And these retainers are, some of them are human, some of them are Space Marines, but they're drugged up, cut with ornamental wounds, pierced up. It's just like this hedonistic pleasure palace. And if you think reflectively back to the Lair Temple, just like that, right?
Okay.
With the snake people on the ground doing their weird orgy thing. It's very similar. I don't know if these people have an orgy, but it's very 300 when they go to the Persians, just like weird smells and just like, you don't know what's going on.
Right. So is that, because Fulgrim isn't really, from what I understand, he's not really in the picture with them. So is this just the Emperor's Children being them, or is this kind of Fulgrim influence?
It's Fulgrim influence, definitely, but he's not here anymore. He's hanging with Horus. Eidolon's kind of in charge now. Is known as the Commander Primus, which means it's the vice president.
Yeah.
I'm in charge because the president is off playing golf somewhere. He's off hanging with Horus. My fault. Because Fulgrim doesn't care. He's just, it's all hedonism. Which trickled down to his legion, which they're all about hedonism, right?
Okay.
They all kind of become the Cenobites from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Pain and pleasure, kind of the same thing here.
Okay. I was just thinking, it's not like how Angron's presence is like how he kind of warped his ship all weird.
Yes, he's the warp energy. Definitely being around Fulgrim, his demon form now would definitely have that effect on you.
Yeah.
But he was already getting them there just from since he killed Ferrus Manus. So,
yeah, okay.
And all that stuff. So Cario walks past all of them, and he goes up to Eidolon, he takes the blade out, and he holds him right to his neck. And Eidolon, who is the Commander Primus, they also call him the Soul Severed. And he earned that name because he was killed and revived, basically. And basically what happened was, after the Dropside Massacre, Eidolon, one of the Fulgrim, was like, I think we're getting a little out of hand here. And Fulgrim was like, you know what I think? I don't think you need your head. And he cuts his head off, and he like, and the whole scene is basically he's passing around this head around this table, and the blood from the head is filling these like wine goblets, and they're drinking out of it. It's super nasty. But that's where that's where he was at that point. And he was like, well, I kind of still need you though. So Famous Bob, can you kind of reattach him? And you kind of see what he looks like now with his kind of after that whole thing with the nasty neck and the stitches. And he's still there mentally. He looks like a zombie, but he's still command. He's just, what's the word? Like necrotic? Not necrotic, but like rotten. There you go. He's just kind of a rotten guy.
So with that, like, I'm trying to think how to word this. So he kind of was like, oh, we might be going too far. After getting revived, she's just like, never mind.
Yeah, I think he learned his lesson.
Okay.
He's like, okay, well, I'm just keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
Also, maybe he dying and bringing you back, maybe Fabius put a little extra juice into
kind of manipulate
him.
it.
Right. Kind of get him a little brainwash. He'd be like, no, this is cool. This is what we do now. And Eidolon's like, all right, you're right.
Okay.
So, and also it's a show of strength, right? Like, hey, you shouldn't talk back to people who are better than you, type of thing, right?
Right. Kind of showing them their place, that kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he walks into Eidolon, holds a sword up to his neck, which is like, I mean, that's not the first time this happened, right? We've talked about that. And this guy, Azael Konenos, who is Eidolon's second in command, kind of watches Cario do this. It doesn't do anything, kind of just lets it happen. And he basically Cario talks to Eidolon and says, you sent us a tithe of what we asked for. If you'd answered the summons, I would be here at the head of a salvage supply convoy. And Eidolon lets him speak because he's like, look, there's nothing you can do to hurt me here. And Eidolon says, I needed something to stir my blood again. Perhaps you are it. But Rush Cario says, and whatever you need, just give me close enough. I ask nothing more. Because he's mad that he's like, if you help me here, then we would have won. And telling him, yeah, maybe. But in the kind of, I mean, almost reflective what happened to Eidolon. It's like, you kind of talking back to me. Maybe I might hurt you a little bit.
Right.
So Rush Cario is like, all right, I understood, but I want to kill, like, whatever you need to get your blood going, let me get something out of it. And what he says is, Eidolon says, the Death Lord burns to the warp. He has been ordered to join with us. Did you know this? And Ravage Cario says, it changes nothing. And Eidolon says, it changes everything. Because Ravage Cario wants Shiban specifically, because he got away. He's very upset with that. He's like, I got him, I should have killed him. Now, Xin Qa does die, though. Unfortunately, he dies at Callium. He got lost in the thing, and we're going to talk about that here.
So, just real quick, I know they just referenced the Death Lord. Is that talking about Mortarion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
A lot of like nicknames thrown around, so sometimes it gets a little confusing. Like sometimes like they'll call him like Commander Primus, and it's like, what's Commander? Oh, Eidolon, of course. So now the retreat from Callium is still going on. They're still trying to figure out, and the White Guards are fighting their way to something called the Mandeville Point, and they're getting caught up in Eidolon's fleet. When Arvida, we talk about him, he is that Thousand Sun sorcerer. He reaches his apothecarian aboard the Lance of Heaven, which is their ship, the White Guard ship. And Arvida knows this guy who he's trying to get to. And him and Xin Qa have a good relationship because he helped him with those Psycho Nuian Swarm, those weird ghost mosquito things.
Okay.
So they're close here. And Xin Qa is on a slab, basically, like on a morgue slab, I guess you call it.
Okay.
He's not doing too well right now. And Jewel Khan is there too. And Xin Qa has been basically, they stripped him up from his battle plate. And what's left of him is basically pinned together by like stitching and all this different stuff and like tubes going into him. And he's not looking good.
Okay.
And on top of it is his dragon helm, which you see in his picture, this helmet he wears. I don't know if we call it a dragon, but it's kind of like an ogre thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dragon-ish. I don't know. His helmet is basically split in half down the middle.
Okay.
And he sees Arvida through his only eye. And he says, sorcerer. And Arvida says, don't save your strength, right? And he basically talks to him instead. Like Arvida does. He says, this way, it's not as much work for you. And they basically talk through a mindscape. And Psychos do whatever they want. It's very X-Men. Well, X-Men has the power to do this now. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. So Xin Qa says, we failed. And Arvida tells him, you did your duty, Kashiga. And that is all he will want to know. Kashyyyk, because he's a Keshig, which are the Terminators, the Khan's like special forces.
Okay.
A lot of the Keshig died at Prospero with those psychic mosquitoes, and also with Mortarion's guys, Death Guard showing up and all that. So Kashyyyk is Keshig, so he's one of them.
Got it. Yeah.
So Xin Qa worries with the Khan that he feels like the Khan is going to take the failure onto his own shoulders instead of just like getting over it. And Arvida says, Rebellion said she knew of a way, and this is why we did these things. She may be yet proved right. And remember, Rebellion is that human general with the Khan who like takes care of the ship's ammunitions and logs and stuff like that. She has the mind for it.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was totally, I know a way we can get back to Terra. We just have to do these weird things.
Okay.
So Xin Qa says, whether or not he made the oath over the ruins of his brother's realm, and it will drive him. He must reach Terra. And Xin Qa says, now take this final command. Cure yourself before you cure any more of us. Promise me. And Arvida says, I no longer make promises. The hunt will be eternal for you, and I swear this. Your name will be remembered on Terra. And then this mindscape starts to break apart because Xin Qa's dying here. And Arvida looks down on him and says, you remain unsullied right to the end. So at that point, Xin Qa kind of goes, dies. And this soldier, and he says, the sound weapons, no blade, no matter how fast, parries them. So what killed Xin Qa was a noise marine. So they're fighting noise marines. It's like you can't, what are you going to do with this? With sound waves. Right. You can't block it. So, because also back in Eidolon's picture here, on his thing, you see his little speaker. He can use that to shout out like these sound waves, like a Sindel scream type thing.
Right.
Got that enhancement way back on Isfahan, before Isfahan 5, when they fought, I can't remember what they fought, but they would use those attacks against the Emperor's children. And they're like, Fabius Vale was studying those aliens and be like, maybe we can use this for our own guys. And then Fulgrim was like, are you saying that we need, my space marines need help to be even more perfect? Fabius Vale was like, I would never say such a thing. But, and then Fulgrim was like, go ahead.
You can take it, but it'd be really cool then.
Well, like, imagine if we could just like scream people to death. And Fulgrim's like, that does sound pretty awesome. So yes. So then we talk about the noise marines also as well.
Yeah.
So yes, and that's kind of the problem they're having now is like, we fight this.
Right.
So Arvida says, like, well, Jubal asks Arvida, what did Xin Qa tell you in your mind space there? And Arvida says, little enough. He died well with his spirit laughing. And then Jubal offers him death right, which is called Damarg, which is surprising here because that's a specific White Scars cultural thing. Nobody outside of White Scars can do that. So that they really trust Arvida here to let him do that. Like they almost see him as part of the White Scars, even though he's still a 1,000 Suns with the armor on. He's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at least to their knowledge, right? He is really like the only 1,000 Suns
still alive.
Left.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He is the last of the, I mean, he said that, I think in the last book we talked about, he says, like I'm the last of my race or whatever, not race, but of my group. Legion. Yeah. So, and the problem is too, that he has something called the flesh change. And we haven't really touched on the flesh change too much, but it is basically a cancer that a lot of 1,000 Suns get just from warp stuff, but also gene mutation. It's kind of weird. So, and his is, Arvida's getting it, it's kind of building up. It gets to the point where you can't even take off your armor anymore because it becomes like you become too big inside of it that like fuses to your body in a way. Like you can't take it off, or also like it like contains your mass in a weird way. If you open up, like you'll spill out in a big mess. I don't know. It gets real crazy. Like some people, they see like weird fingers, like their fingers go way too long or something, or some people's like eyes fall out, or you might like grow a third arm. Like it's just like weird mutations that they get.
Yeah. Okay. So there's not a kind of like a specific way it manifests, but it's just like some sort of like you said, like a cancer. Just like
it's just
sort of growth.
Yeah, basically warp cancer. Yeah, Arvida's is kind of catching up to him now, and that's why Xin Qa said, "Yourself before you help anybody else," because that's what they were trying to do for a long time. This flesh has existed for, I mean, since Magnus has known 1,000 Suns, and even he was trying to figure out how to cure, but he couldn't. He didn't know. I mean, that's why he went to the warp in some ways to figure it out, and Armin also was trying to figure it out too. So Arvida says he was your Legion's champion. He is yours to mourn. So he lets them do it because it's like, well, it's your guys' thing. So he leaves and he kind of goes back and does like a meditation on losing Xin Qa. Back to the other White Scars. They have basically spent this whole war scattered all over the place. But what helps them is that they're so fast, it's hard for people to like catch them. Like once they start getting away from you, you're just not going to catch up to them.
Right.
But the problem is when you cast a big enough net, you can really start pulling him into a center point. And that's what's kind of starting to happen here. So the Khan basically calls everybody home It says, all right, we can't just be scattered around anymore because we're getting picked off in different points.
Right.
So he calls for a muster, but he uses decoys, Tregorian language barriers, all these different codes. People can't figure it out.
Okay.
And he does this while holding Xin Qa's helmet, that split helmet in half. Because he basically says, no more, order the muster. Like, I don't want any more of us to die when we can figure out a way out of here.
So he's on, what was it, Callium? Was that where they're at?
The Khan isn't, I mean, this is a little later, so they kind of have regrouped a little bit.
Okay.
So they got back together enough where they get back Xin Qa's helmet and all that, because they escaped.
Okay.
Arvida and all them, they were the ones that got away from the children.
Okay.
And that's partially why, what's his name was mad, Cario, because he wanted to kill all of them and he couldn't get to them.
Right. Okay. So this is past that. Now they're kind of off somewhere else, and that's where they're regrouped. Okay.
They're kind of all scattered around, but yes, time has passed.
Okay.
So the Khan is doing a little meditation, of course, and he kind of goes back into his mind a little bit, and he's showing a ship that he built to the Emperor. He says, nothing is faster, nothing serves you better. We have poured our hearts into this and made it perfect. And the Emperor looks up to the stars and he said one thing to him that Khan has still never thought thinking about. And he says, even these are fleeting. And the Khan doesn't really know what that means. The Emperor's just always cryptic like that. When he has 10,000 visions that he has all the time. But he's always thinking about that. What does that mean, right? And assumes, oh, is it life? Is it empires? What could it mean?
Right.
So, yes, Jubal Khan comes back, and the Khan offers him Xin Qa's title, the Master of the Keshik. And Jubal refuses it out of respect. He says, I will not take the title. Xin Qa was the only Master of the Keshik you have known, and I will not live in his shadow. And he says, thinking, okay, maybe Taxir then, because it's like a restorer, somebody who is kind of a propaganda / remembrancer for the White Scars. Paintings, poetry, art, all that stuff.
Right, but there's still a Space Marine, though, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So Shiban is the Space Marine, and Taxir is Space Marine. Now, they still might have in White Scars, maybe? I don't know, because they're not xenophobic, but they definitely are with aliens, but like, they just don't, a lot of people don't care to have remembrancers around because they're just kind of annoying sometimes. Because they always want to do interviews, they always want to talk to you, they always want to paint this, they always want to do that, and people just are like, all right, I'm trying to do like war here. So
yeah.
Jake says, Shiban was a poet, Yesugei tells me. Now he does not write, he does not sing, and he does not laugh. And Jubal Khan says, it will not sit well with those who name him Restorer. So, and then Khan gives Jubal a new name instead. He says, An Izen, which is the Master of the Hunt. And the Master of Keshik stays empty. Nobody fills that spot.
Okay. So I'm curious, in like modern 43 lore, is that still true? Has it still not been?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I don't, because I might say like, yeah, no, they definitely built it. And it's like, nope, they still haven't.
Yeah. I
would assume they have, just because like that's 10,000 years of not filling this place. So I'm sure somebody came along that was like, oh, you're good enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Xin Qa's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We can always say Torkoal, right? The Pokemon. So the reason that they've been doing all these different things, the White Scars, is that they're trying to get word from Yesugei, who's running after this lead about how to get back to Terra. And Khan says it basically, in truth, it was for him that I sent my sons into peril. It's like, I am risking you guys' lives for this one lead that Yesugei is supposed to come, like, bring back to us. And he, feels bad about it. But if Yesugei doesn't have the lead, and Khan says, if not, then we cannot leave the void. Like, we're stuck here and we're dead. Like, there's not much, like, we're trapped.
Yeah.
So, Ilia Rebellion, who we talked about before, who's that general, and she's traveled with them years now. Humans, obviously, she can't be traveling for them for like hundreds of years. But I don't know, man. Some of these humans, they're like other humans, but they gave them like a special medicine that lets them live another 100 years. It's always something like that.
It's author's choice plot armor.
Right, basically. It's like, well, because then you have to think like real numbers, because you could like, well, that Space Marine's like, oh, I've fought with you for centuries now. It's like, okay, it's a long time, 500 years.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but if a human said that, it's like, huh? Humans live that long.
Yeah.
So you could say like 5 decades, maybe, but even still, okay, now the human's like 70. And it's like, now you can't really do much anymore. So it's like, oh no, we did magic to make you young again.
Insert warp shenanigans here.
Right, biomancy. Yes. Yeah. It was the Emperor's secret.
He did it because he wanted to.
Yes.
Okay.
The apothecary gave him a special, it's like Luther, where it's like, Luther is not a Space Marine, but he basically is.
Yeah.
He was too old.
I know the one, I think we called it out on a different episode. It was, Argel Tall with the spear. It's like, he did it because the warp let him do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He undid this Emperor-made biocode into the sphere because he figured it out. It's I don't know. A lot of stuff is like that, and you'll notice it as we go through these. A lot of this like weird. When you have so much to write about, it's kind of hard. Now, it's just also so many authors that some of it just contradicts itself, or is just like that didn't actually happen. This happened instead. It's like okay, so it's not the best writing, I'll say.
I guess I'm curious. So Perpetuals, right? Are they kind of like
it's a Dan Abnett creation.
So
he's one of the writers for the books, and he kind of invented that was the first time that ever came up. And he kind of invented that when people don't like it.
Oh, really?
It's very because it's just like it's kind of like going back to comic books. If heroes die and then come back, then why does it matter if anybody dies?
Right.
So with Perpetuals, now to be fair, there's only like 2 Perpetuals that we know of: Vulcan and Grammaticus. I guess Daemon Prytanis too.
Yeah.
It's like okay, you don't know, but like it's not like oh yeah, everybody can be Perpetual. You just got to try hard. It's like no, it's still pretty rare.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess also Olivia, but Emperor made her Perpetual. So it's like a thing you can get. But it's like it's a thing you can get. So then it is up to the writer then who can get it.
Right.
So then it's like okay, let's make I don't know the Con of Perpetual somehow. It becomes this. It adds a weird layer to it that doesn't really need to be there.
Right. And I was going to ask. I was like, I wonder if this is this like a. And maybe it's not explained because there's just so few of them. And it's like, oh, keep it vague. But like, is this like an elf scenario? It's like, oh, they die of old age, or they don't die of old age unless they get killed, or I guess
like the Eldar
that works. Yeah.
Well, Eldar were kind of Perpetuals too in a way, but they would just come back. They was reincarnate almost instantly. So it was like, which kind of what a Perpetual is. But Eldar are weird. They have like soul stones, which like you die, but then your soul gets put into a rock that you are still alive in. But then you can like manipulate things. And then if you find like a machine, you can put the soul into a machine, and then you can use it as a body, kind of like the Dreadnought, but like for a soul. They're weird. Eldar lore honestly isn't very. It's not as layered, I'll say, as obviously Imperium is. Like you don't get a lot with them. Their stuff changes too. Like we talked about Eldred, I think, in like one of the episodes. Like he is supposed to be the Farseer, ancient knowledge guy, knows everything. But he's like 25 years old in like Eldar terms. It's like I don't know if that really makes sense. But or even like the birth of Slaanesh, you think it's like, oh, this ancient event that happened with Eldar millions of years ago. It's like, no, it happened like last week.
Yeah.
Like 200 years ago. It wasn't even like some Space Marines were alive to see it happen. It's like,
right.
That doesn't seem right.
It's like that doesn't seem as ancient as it should.
Yeah. Like a birth of a new Chaos God was like, I don't know.
In their lifetime?
During the like 1500s, basically for us. Like the Black Plague. It's like, I guess it was like, but when you have beings that live thousands of years, like Space Marines technically live forever. No one's ever seen one die of old age. So it's like, seems a little weird.
Yeah. It's weird because like, I know we've talked about ones that are like old, but then like, do they die of old age? Like, is that a thing?
There has never been a recorded, well, I'll say in 40K there has been, but in 30K there's never been a Space Marine that's died of old age.
Okay.
Primarchs, it's assumed that they're eternal. They just never die of age. And obviously some can die. Paris Manus died. But then you get weird with him too, where it's like, now this is kind of later lore, where it's like, oh, could he come back if the Emperor puts his soul, like takes it out of the warp and like puts it, it's like, whatever. It gets to a point you're like, it's kind of a guessing game at a certain point.
What are they going to cook up? No, bring up Ferris Manus.
Wait, we need to sell the Ferris Manus model.
No, wait, bring his soul back.
Yeah, actually, we need to bring back all the Primarchs again. Nobody's buying the figures anymore. It's kind of a cycle, right? Because it's like, since they make so many Space Marine models, everybody buys Space Marine models. And then they make more Space Marine codexes, so you get more lore about the Imperium. Because people don't buy Eldar stuff. So then it's like, okay, then they won't make Eldar stuff. Since they don't make Eldar stuff, you don't get Eldar lore. It's like, kind of becomes a cycle of like, if you want more of the other thing, then you have to buy the other thing. If you want more Eldar lore, you got to buy Eldar, which Eldar fans will say that all day. But most people want to play Space Marine. That's why the game's called Space Marine 2.
Right.
It's not called Eldar 2 or Eldar. I mean, they did make a
Tau game, right?
A Tau Fire Warrior. It was a PS2 game, which is so crazy. And that did not do well, apparently. Yeah. They're like, all right, Tau, don't get anything else now. Tricky. Because who doesn't want to be like a big walking tank guy smashing aliens? It's like Halo, right? It's the same kind of principle.
Yeah, and they got all the different legions stuff. It's like, oh, look, you got
all the customization too.
Yeah.
Eldar are kind of limited by what you can do with them. Like they kind of have to be a certain type of thing. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. Tangent aside.
Right. So Revilion, who I assume is a regular human and probably not that old and not enhanced, she is interrogating this man that they pulled off a place called Heraval, who is a navigator from a planet that the children burned years ago. Basically, they just cooked it alive. And we talked about that with the Emperor of Mankind or Master of Mankind episode. Emperor's Children did that a couple times. They go back to a planet and be like, give us this. And they say, no. They're like, okay, then we're going to kill everybody. Type of thing.
Yeah.
So they did the same thing here. And they were like, oh, nobody's alive. We destroyed the planet. But this guy was alive. And she asked him, who are you? And he says, I was called Vale. And he is a navigator, I believe. So
there are navigators on planets then? Because I always thought about navigators just being on.
Navigators are there. It's a genetic thing. You're usually born a navigator, and then usually you get picked up and say, all right, you're going to a ship.
Okay.
So this guy may have been a navigator on his planet, like, I don't know, like on taking a break. And all of a sudden someone show up and kill everybody. And then he was there and it's like, well, I don't know where to go now. So,
okay.
So it could be like that, right? Usually, yeah, we're going to pick you up. You're going on the ship because you have the third eye thing.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to look at that third eye. It's bad news. Usually cover it up because it's just like if you leave it uncovered, it almost can like destroy things in like a zone. Or just people get sucked into it. It's kind of like, you ever watch Inuyasha?
No.
Yeah, I mean anime reference, but there's a guy who has like a hand thing that can like hold demons into his hand and like poisons them kind of, but it's kind of like that where it's just like, it's just, you don't want it. Don't look into it. It's bad. It's kind of like the dead lights from It, right? Pennywise, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are lights.
Okay.
So anyways, she picks him up and she says, I know, so that you know, Peter Atchelu. And he was a part of something that is bigger than what you're led on to believe. Vale says, yes, Atchelu's whole house spent generations trying to chart the warp itself, turn it into something navigable the way real space is. And then he basically calls it dark glass. Now, they don't know what that means, really, all the people on board. They don't know what dark glass means, but that's what he calls it. And he says, Atchelu went there once and never came back.
Okay. So I guess I'm assuming this is like a location. I guess it's kind of left vague right now. But
it's just an object, a location, a person, an item, a weapon. It's kind of like the thing with the Perturabo and Fulgrim when they were going to find the Angel Exterminatus.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a weapon? Is it a person? Is it a thing? It's like, it's actually nothing. It was a trick.
It was a ploy.
I tricked you. Fooled you. Shoes in your face. You were so mad, like you always are.
So I guess Atchelu's he went off to find that and then never was heard from again. Right?
Well, I think the thought is that he was working on it with his whole, but then it just vanished. Like it just went dark one day. Nobody knows what happened.
Okay.
Yesugei backs it. He says, we have a lead, Dark Glass. The lead's just like, man, that's all we got is a name.
Yeah.
Like we can't, how are we going to work on this? Like we have Vale and Dark Glass and the memory of Peter that you remember from 20 years ago. I don't think we can operate off of that.
Yeah, not the best lead.
Yeah. But Yesugei's like, no, look, what else do we got? That's it's like, okay, we don't do that, then we're dead. So what are we going to do here? It's like a detective where you're like, oh, I have time to go over the notes here. It's like, either we do this or we wait until something happens.
Yeah.
So the Khan is like thinking about it too. He's like, maybe. So eventually, Torghan, remember Torghan, we talked about him and his Sagir Mazan, who are the Oathbreakers, the guys that joined, I guess it was Torghan, right, that betrayed him. No, it was, what's his name?
Are you talking about the
when he got back in the ship and then he was like, you were going to join Horus. And he's like, I know, I was thinking about it. He's like, interesting.
Yeah, it was like the Sons of Horus rejects that joined the White Scars, and they're like, actually, we're going to go side with Horus again. Like,
right, Hasek, that's his name, Hasek.
Yeah.
So yes, Hasek, when they got back on ship, the Khan was like, you tried to betray me, so I should kill you. But he doesn't. He just kind of stabbed him and he threw him in prison.
Okay.
So the ones who were on his side, Hasek's side, are called the Sagir Mazan, which are Oathbreakers. And they have to earn back their position through basically community service.
Okay. And Torghan is one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
And basically they sent them out to go fight Iron Warriors. Because like, well, either you die in battle and earn your place back in, or you kill the Iron Warriors. Those are two options. Very common in a lot of different legions and just things in 40K is either you die to earn your spot back or you don't, basically. It's very cut and dry. So Torghan eventually gets a call and it says they've called us back. But Torghan doesn't want to go. He says, I need to die to prove that I am allowed back in the scars. He says it was all about choice. Like it is my choice to do this. I'm going to die on the field. And then this person, Senyas, says that can change. We are still alive. So it's like, we can still die later on. We just, go back home and we go die doing something else. So, hey, so think about that. So eventually they show up in the system and Shiban intercepts them and he's about to shoot them. And he says, declare yourself. And he says, Torghan Khan, once of the Brotherhood of the Moon, 5 others of many brotherhoods now joined to the Sagar Mazan. We answer the call. And Shiban says this cannot be chance that you will come back. So Shiban starts beating up Torghan because he's still pretty mad about the whole, like, you try to kill our, what's his name? Primarch.
Yes.
He starts choking him and kind of venting out this 5 years of lost son to this guy. Because it's been a while that the White Scars were trying to get back to Terra. It's been, I mean, about 5 years, right? It says the Shadow Crusade was 7 years from Calth to the Shadow Crusade, like for the rest of the Shadow Crusade. And this is during that time as well. The Shadow Crusade is still kind of happening while the White Scars are doing their thing. The time is weird here, but it's about 5 years into the entire Horus Heresy right now.
Okay.
The Shadow Crusade is 7 years in, so there's 2 years left of Shadow Crusade. So yeah, the timeline's a little funky, but it doesn't matter too much. But anyways,
and Shadow Crusade was all the Cal.
Yes, all the Ultramar, 500 worlds, Lorgar and Angron going and killing everybody.
Yeah, okay, got it. So that is happening while
this is happening. Yes,
okay.
And that's why it's like hard to do this like timeline properly because it's like a lot of things are happening all at once, so it's kind of jumping around a lot.
Yeah,
kind of had to throw away the whole title here because it's like I could do it that way, but man, it would be very confusing.
It's so many jumps.
It's a lot of jumps in like characters that you don't know who they are because it's like these you're not telling a story in order, you're telling it through events. So it's like the writers don't think about that when they're doing it, so then it becomes this thing of like, anyways. But I'm still trying to keep it somewhat close. Yeah, because book wise, like we're jumping around the books too. We're not going in order for the books because the book even in order jumps around a lot. Because like Legion is the 5th book, I think, or no, the 4th book, and that happens before even the first 3 books. So it's like you're already jumping around from not even the first 5 books.
Yeah, it doesn't even start consistent.
Exactly. So it's like I'm trying my best here. And also First Heretic, I mean, that's like 20 years before the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that's like I think it's like the 13th book or something. Like it's all over the place. Anyways, so he takes it on Torghan, and Torghan doesn't fight back. He's like, I deserve this. And then Shiban stops. He's like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, you're not gonna fight back. There's no point. And Shiban takes up his helmet and shows Torghan what's left of his face. Basically, he has this surgery done, has synthetic flesh and like iron prosthetics. He doesn't look too good. And he basically says, this is what happened when you like did what you did.
Okay.
Shiban says there had been no respite. Like it would have been, it was so bad. It was so bad. He says, you will serve, but you will not atone. There is no atonement. You were sent away to die and failed in even that. And Torghan says, what happened to you? And Shiban says, the same thing that happened to all of us. So it doesn't really say even Elias' face looks like that. It's like, but it's your fault somehow.
Yeah.
You can't even kill yourself properly. So now we're going to go jump to Mortarion here. So we're on the ship Endurance, and Mortarion baits a trap at this gas giant Revo and catches one of the White Scars frigates that is moving toward the muster. And the Endurance finishes it off, and he boards the wreck. And there's one White Scar that survived, and he can't even stand up on his own. And Mortarion goes up to him and says, look at me. You've been caught up in this. You are on course to meet your master. Give me the coordinates. The warrior just spits blood in Mortarion's face. And Mortarion's like, okay, all right, now I got something for you. He takes out a small little casket, and you see something inside lashing about, whipping all over the place. And he says, this is a Jamenja Falak, a mind eater, the boar gullet. The White Scars calls it a Yaksha. And he says, Mortarion says, no, it's not a demon. He says, there are monsters in this universe other than those in the warp. So this thing is an alien. This is not a demon.
Okay.
But he says, basically what it's going to do to you is to latch onto your head, and it's going to eat your memories. And you're going to feel all of it. It's not going to be pleasant. And then he tells him, though, it says, he did this to you, referring to the Khan. And all the White Scar says, Urin Ordu Gamana Jaghatai, which is basically like a oath prayer thing. So kind of stay strong during this meld thing.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. Like, I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before. Don't either the Primarchs or Space Marine have like the brain
eating ability?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, Mortarion could just eat this guy's brain, but I think the problem is like you would get fuzzy memories. Like it wouldn't be so crystal clear. Like maybe this thing can give you perfect images versus like if I eat your brain, then it's like I'm getting some things, but not a lot.
Get like a highlight reel.
Exactly. Like I said, it's weird. Just some things just don't.
Yeah, right. Don't worry about it.
It's cooler if he uses an alien on them.
Yeah,
because they have different abilities. It's kind of like I ever watch iZombie.
No.
It's a it's a zombie show, but the girl is a zombie, but the zombies can like stay lucid as long as they eat brains every now and then, or eat meat or something. They eat something every now and then to like stay there. And she'll eat cadaver's brain because works in the morgue. So she eats cadaver's brains to solve crimes. So she can see the memories of what they saw. But she only gets like small glimpses of it. They kind of put the pieces together based on like what she's around. So maybe it's like that, where they get kind of like a That's So Raven like future scene, and they're like, okay, there's something going on here, but I'm not getting a full picture.
Yeah.
Whereas this little alien thing is just like, yeah, perfect like of it, and you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So Yesugei sits with Vale, and he wants to learn what he actually knows about the war. And Vale says there are layers, like an onion, like an ogre.
Yeah, I would say shout out Shrek.
Yeah, just like Shrek. He says there are shallow ways, there are deeper arteries, and there's like a root layer that no living mind is able to survive. Like it gets nasty the farther you go down. And Vale is kind of contemptuous of the idea that any of it can truly be charted. Like Peter was very ambitious to think that he could figure this thing out. He says it is not a mirror. It moves like a living thing. It is a living thing. Touch it and it trembles. Like it responds to stimulus in a way. It's a membrane. So, and he confirms that Peter tried to go deeper than else has and failed because it is impossible. Like you just can't get past a certain point. Maybe millions of years ago when it wasn't so trepidatious, but nowadays, no way.
Right.
And Yesugei says, and I don't necessarily trust this guy either. It's kind of suspicious that he was on this planet by himself, only survivor, real convenient. So he says, I'm not going to torture you because Vale won't tell them the location of. He's being a little weird about it because he doesn't think they should have this power.
Okay.
Use whatever this is. And Yesugei says, I would not break you. That is not our way, but there may be another. So Yesugei tells Vale something that actually earns cooperation. He agrees with him about the war because a lot of people don't. The white scars, we do not belong there. I often consider in the night wisdom of building an empire on such a foundation, but there was no other way, no. And Vale says, not one that worked. Because I mean, that's the whole thing with the Emperor too, the Webway project, is that like, we use warp travel, but man, does it suck? You know, like we need to find another way. But it's like, well, we can't. So in the meantime, we have to use our fossil fuels until we can all get electric cars, you know?
Right.
It's like, is there any other way? Not really, not right now. So Yesugei tells him, he says, I have a friend who can get into your mind better than I can. He says, fear not, he's the last survivor of World War II. I think you and he will find much to talk about. He's talking about Arvida.
Right.
Here's a picture of Arvida. I don't know if I showed one earlier. Kind of from the books. He's very juiced up with all the lightning and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a tech marine behind him. I'm not really sure who that is. But yes. So he brings in Arvida because Arvida is a powerful sorcerer. There's levels to the Psyker game, you know? Yes, he thanks Arvida for something he showed him earlier when he was with Xin Qa, right? Like that whole moment of like the way Arvida handled that, he was like, they respect him for that. And he says, that will not be forgotten. The Kagan will not forget it either. If you change your mind, ask for Legion colors and it will be happily given. Basically saying, if you want to become White Scar, no problem.
Right.
Which I don't know how often that can even happen. Like, to change your thing. But I guess in his case, it is like he's the last one. So, I mean, what does it matter?
Right.
Is Magnus going to be mad? I don't think so. Supposedly he's dead. So
yeah, I was curious about like that, and I was thinking of the guy that we talked about a while. I think in the episode talking about Pharaohs, like the one sitting by himself. It's like,
could he become an Imperial Fist?
Right. Could he do that? Could he become like an Ultramarine? Like,
but I think with the Iron Wars, they knew the other Iron Wars are still alive, Emperor Tarapa, so it's a little different. But I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess there's kind of levels to it. It's like where he could be the last one of his Legion,
right.
Or it's like you're in your Legion, but they're just like, you're like, I'm good, I'm a loyalist, but like, they're all kind of.
And also the issue is that like, can you even trust them? Like still, and that's kind of issue too. Where they trust Arvida now, definitely. But Arvida says he declines, right? Because just one, I can't take off my armor. It's kind of stuck to me now with this whole flesh change thing going on.
Yeah.
And Arvida walks into the cell, and Vale says, "See, another comes to try his luck. But you're a curiosity. I heard that your kind were all destroyed." And Arvida says, "Not all." And then Vale says, "Obviously, because you're here in front of me." So Vale tries to mess with him a little bit. Tries to just like say like, "Oh, you think you know about the warp? You don't know nothing about the warp." And Arvida says, "There's not much you could teach me about the ocean. Like, you're trying to big man me. It's not working. I know so much about it.
You're not him.
Yeah. You don't know. You're not that guy, pal." So Arvida basically stops doing this back and forth, and he commands him with a psychic force that says, "Give me your hand." Basically, uses the Dune voice, what do we call him, the Bene Gesserit voice. He grabs his hand so he can basically mind link with him.
Yeah.
And what that does is, like he did with Xin Qa, it creates kind of a mind space, and he can go through Arvida's memories like rooms, basically walking through them, looking into these different parts, these libraries of Navigator houses. You can see like these star charts, and then he can see Harabel itself, the planet that they found him on before the Legion burned it, the Third Legion, Emperor's Children. And in the middle of it, they see a young man with a jeweled bandana across his forehead, carrying an ebony staff tipped with a white stone. It says, "That's Peter. That has to be him," because this guy looks so crazy. Do I have a picture of him? I don't know. I don't think so. No, that's fine. But yeah, so he is there.
I'm imagining he's kind of, you play like Fallout 4, like the
the mind den.
Yeah, where they just like walk from memory to memory.
Yeah, scene to scene. Yes, basically like that. He tells Peter to follow him, and he is going to like hunt the soul warmth of Peter. So it's kind of like in Fallout 4 when you're chasing down like Kellogg, and you're using the dog to like sniff him out. It's like this like a psychic version of that.
Okay.
Where it's like his soul left traces around, because he's a navigator, so you just have a bigger wolf and other things. So he's kind of trying to sniff out where he's been moving.
Okay.
And he's chasing him through sealed doors, dark corridors, through basically an analog for the galaxy, trying to map his direction. And it hurts him a little bit to do this, right? It's not an easy task, but eventually he finds a location. It appears there, and he's like, "Oh, there it is, I got it." Now, it's not a pinpoint accuracy, but it's a general idea, which is a lot better than what they had before.
Right.
So while that's happening, and the Khan calls every surviving White Scar to his location and lays out what's going on. He says, "Our routes to Terra are blocked or watched, and we're outnumbered. Like, we can't just do what we've been doing." He says, "Only two choices remain: to attempt the Throne World again, or to make our stand here, far from home, and hope to wound my brother so deeply that the sacrifice will not be wasteful." And he says, "We are strong enough to draw his attention, but not to end him." And now he doesn't even know that Horus went to Molech and got the powers of the Emperor. So he assumes he can hurt him, but at this point, probably not. Especially because Fulgrim's there. Well, Mortarion's not there, but sometimes he is. Or who else would be with him? Perturabo? No, Perturabo's crying somewhere. Lorgar?
Yeah, I was like Lorgar. I don't know what.
Actually, no, Lorgar and Angron are doing the...
Oh, yeah, they're on.
Actually, right now, I don't know if Horus has the Emperor's power. I don't know if that happened yet. So...
Yeah.
But who knows? I don't think he would win the con. Maybe.
Even before Emperor power?
Maybe. I think you hurt him. I don't know if you beat him, because it's just, I mean, he's outnumbered. I mean, it's one primer against four. Like, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Because Mortarion would catch up to him. Fulgrim would probably get involved somehow. I mean, it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
So people are kind of pushing back on it. Like, I don't like, what do we like? We should just see what we can do against him. And Arvida speaks up and he says, "We have a name. It is Novator Peter Achelu, known to the service of General Rebellion. All of those Navis Nobilite, it is believed, he holds the greatest chance of divining a route for us." But he says, "I can find him in his memories, but I have a location, the Catalyst Rift." And Shiban says, "Many have already fallen chasing this dream. Every battle we fight takes us further from where we need to be. There are other choices." And Yesugei says, "If Terra falls, nothing else remains. The war will be over. Horus will be free to scour the rest of the galaxy world by world." And another guy, Genzorg, says, "They say Ultramar still stands, that the Raven is still alive in spite of everything. The War Master cannot be everywhere." And Yesugei says, "Not yet, but hand him the throne and that will change." And then Xin Qa, another guy, says, "This man, Achelu, is but a mortal. He may live yet, he may be dead. These are weak strands to clutch at." So everybody's saying their doubts here, like, I still don't think it's a good idea. Because if we go there and there's nothing there, then, okay, we just moved and then died.
Right.
So Leah gets up and she speaks. Oh my goodness. A woman speaking in front of my Space Marines? More likely than you think. Talking about, what's her name from the World Eaters?
Oh gosh. Yeah, was it
Voltara.
Yeah.
Yeah, she, Angron, it's funny because even in the book, Angron, like, really likes her. He's like, and something bad happens, and she tells Angron's like, "Okay, you'll kill that guy." He's like, don't make Voltara mad. She's a regular human. But anyways, she speaks to them in Gothic because she can't speak their language. Not very well. She can understand, but she can't speak it. And she says, "They are weak strands indeed. It would shame me to bring them to you. But A nobiliter of House Magisterial is a great lord, and Attila was among the greatest of them. He had the ear of the palace itself, and I saw his warcraft enacted during the Crusade when he brought fleets to war through storms of such magnitude that they said the task was impossible. And Shiban kind of was like, still not buying it. He says, and yet, if he could find the path to terror, would he not have taken it? And Ilya says, I believe he remained in the void. Because he cannot do otherwise, says Shiban, because his duties kept him there, says Ilya. You cannot know that, says Shiban. And Ilya says, no, Tex, here I cannot. There is much that is guesswork. I have never hidden that. But Arvida says, whatever the truth, we know where he is now. I have seen it. And Yesugei says, and we can gain this location. The ways are charted and the journey is short. And Ganzorg says, then you support this? Zadian Arga? Is that true? Another one of their titles. And Yesugei says, because when has Zu Ilya ever let us wrong, Noyan Khan? So they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because they trust her. And they're like, she's never lied to us. She's never been sneaky. She's never... Also, there's like a lot for her in the line here. She's just a regular human.
Is she's a navigator, right? Is that...
I don't know. She's just a general...
Oh, yeah, she's like the logistics...
Just a logistics general that just knew people. Okay. She has a good logistical memory. Not like psychic memory, but she just has a good memory. Kind of like the lady we talked about in Mechanicum that was like, got hired because the way she knew machines.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
Not like a magical knowledge. It's just like a savant type of knowledge.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, she's a regular human around these 7-foot tall tanks. Being like, I have something to say. And they're like, you know what? Maybe you're right. So they're kind of just listening, kind of still thinking, mulling it over. And eventually he says something. He says, I yearn for nothing more than to finish what was started on Prospero. I'm hunted by my brothers, and my blood runs hot from the shame of it. And my wish is only to turn and face them. Yet this is the easier choice, to become as they are, and to counter rage with rage, and to fight blind, knowing that the greater cause will be lost. Distrust the path of ease. So I give the command. If we are to die, then Catalyst will serve. He says, return to your ships, make ready for the warp. Our hunters are tight on their scent. So he's like, we're taking the lead. Because we can't, the easy path is bad news.
Right.
So back to Mortarion. He arrives at Aurelian, basically where the Khan was, because he got the information out of that guy with the little alien thing. Because, I mean, it's biologically just going to do it. Like, you can try your best to not let it do it, but it's going to do it, right? So he's saying, if I flex hard enough, a vampire can't drink my blood. It's like, no, I think he can. So he got the information, but by the time Mortarion shows up, they're already gone. And he almost shoots the ship that shows up because he thinks it's one of them. And he says, for a moment back to Lord Commander, I thought you might attack us. And he's talking to Eidolon here, because Eidolon's arrived as well. And the two of them are walking through a chamber with these statues and a bunch of weird, like, things, kind of a dark, dingy area. And Mortarion's real concern is that he's making sure, he wants to make sure Khan cannot get to Terra. I mean, that's his prime directive right now. He cannot get to Terra. Because if he does, he's going to be very dangerous there.
Right.
He says it like, we must not be on the walls of the palace when the siege is set. Like, bad news. And Eidolon says, every major transit in Conduit is blocked or watched. The War Master's host has a measure of Dorn's outer sentinels. And Mortarion says, you embrace these things like children running after sweetmeats. There is no hardship for you in this. And Eidolon says, how well you know us, or most of us anyway. But Mortarion says, only one thing do I demand. He says, I want the killing blow myself. I need to kill the Khan. And Eidolon says, his head can be yours to claim. I want Shiban. Like, I don't care about the Khan. You can have it.
Right.
So, easy agreement there. They're working together. So, the fleet reaches Catalyst and finds this rift that nobody's ever seen before. It's basically a sphere of shifting cobalt plasma that is almost the entire solar system. It's huge. And Vale reads it and he calls it Lam Harmonics. And he says, I urge caution, my lord. Now, what is Lam Harmonics? I don't know what that means. It's probably something bad.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, like, I forget how kind of large the scale is for a lot of stuff. They're like, it's the sphere that takes up an entire solar system. It's like, there's no way that nobody saw that. But I have to think, like, this is like,
I mean, the entire universe.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's light years away. It's the numbers get weird.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about like age and time and distance. Like, I think there's a part where, I think we talked about it during Eisenstein, where Garrow gets back and he's on, I think he meets somebody on the moon, but it takes him like a couple of days just to get from the edge of the galaxy to the moon. Because when you warp into a system, you don't do it next to the planet because it's too dangerous. You might just actually smash into the planet.
Right.
So you usually do it at the edge of the galaxy or the system. Not galaxy, yeah, the system, the solar system there. So you can kind of, then you just slowly just kind of fly your way towards it. It might take days, but it's because you don't want to do it because you want to smash into the planet. It's safer just to be at the edge.
Right.
So yeah, it usually takes a while, and that's why they usually always on the edge of his system.
Okay.
So he takes the whole fleet in there anyways, and there's a lot of turbulence, and Vale is kind of like, oh, okay. And Khan says, we will not turn back. And these readings are climbing, basically, these pressure readings, all these different heat and all the different stuff. And Vale says, there is a source at the heart of all this. And he says, approaching it is dangerous. And Khan says, this is what we came to discover. I will see it with my own eyes. So he wants to board this structure that they see now in the center of this solar system.
Right.
And on the way in, Arvida asks Yesugei about his discipline. Like the reason why he can do the psychic stuff and not go crazy. Because Arvida said, like, my guys did that and it didn't work out too well for us. And Yesugei brings up an old argument that he had with Armin back at Olenor. And Armin says, you are too cautious. Does anyone even know the gifts you have? And Arvida says, to teach the path of heaven, to walk between worlds, never leaving a trace in either, to kick the fire over, never to build, never to delve. You practice your art like you practice war. So he's basically telling the White Scars, or Yesugei, the way my guys did it was we'd go in there and we'd do whatever we wanted, and we'd warp. Whereas with the White Scars, they left no trace, right? That classic camping thing, right? Go in there, take what you need, and then get out. Don't stay there too long.
Right.
And that's the difference. So they're kind of moving along, and they see a vast black structure with no markings, no answer to any call or anything like that. It's just giant station. And Arvida says, there it is. And they assume. And while Khan is doing that, we're trying to figure out what Dark Glass even is. There is a ship called the Proud Heart, which is a Emperor's Children ship. And an Emperor's Children Report called Von Calda, who has been dealing with a summoned demon to find out exactly where the White Scars are. Because demons can do that. One big thing that people work with demons for is for knowledge. Not even just Tzeentch demons, just any demons in general. Like, you can tell where people are just because you have just a view of the warp, and they could see in the warp where they jumped when you do the warp jumps.
Okay.
So they can, and so he's like, a demon would know, give us the best information instead of us trying to scry it out.
Okay.
So he talks to this demon and says, what do you want in return? We can give you victory. And this demon called Rakshasi says, victory is for mortal minds. And says, there are other souls, ones who would find union with either hateful. Basically, he's like, I can offer you some souls. You can eat them up. The cons, maybe. Up to you. And that is this demon here. It is a keeper of secrets, which is a greater demon of Slaanesh. I'm pretty sure that's what this demon specifically is.
Yeah.
The demon's like, yeah, all right, sure. That sounds like a good deal. Love to eat a Primarch soul. Very dense. So then it tells him, says they're in Catalyst. And the Warlock stands there, halted before the road to hell. And so he's like, all right, nice. Von Calden's like, you'll be so happy with me. So back to the con. He lands on top of the hangar of Dark Glass, and he sees the House Achelo's sigil on it. And he says, there it is. So they find out, then he was here at least, if that's his sigil. But there's no life signs anywhere. Everything here is like dead, destroyed, bullet holes. Like some battle happened here. They don't know what.
Right.
So elsewhere, Cario is chasing the White Scars as well. And he's aboard a ship called the Suzerain. And he's in a combat simulator, basically getting ready, doing his Luke Skywalker lightsaber, don't think about it. And he's pushing himself to the limit. All of a sudden, he gets a little voice in the back of his head and says, my lord. And then he ignores it. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to do my training. I'm doing my cool moves.
I'm locked in.
Stop. Mom, stop. Close the door. I'm playing Minecraft. And as he pushes it away, it comes back in again. And then he's like, And then eventually it names, like, Konana. And he's like, okay, wait, hold on now. Now you're saying a name I know. Now we can talk. So, and then it also mentions Proudheart. But it doesn't know that Von Calda made the deal here. So actually, Von Calda offered the White Scars as well, but also offered somebody like Cario. Because Cario isn't about warp stuff either. So he's like, well, it's all like that'd be nice too, right?
Right.
So Von Calda kind of made the bargain on first.
Okay.
As well as also any scars that they kill, they can slip them up as well.
Right. I know, like what was it? The
Night Lord
sword. Yeah.
When he made basically summon the demon, but then he's like, use his body. And the guy's like, what?
Weird. And then the sword to that guy.
And then it explodes out of him, and then the sword ends up back with him anyway. He's like, all right, well, guess can't really get rid of you. So back to the Dark Glass, we're jumping around a lot here, but because we're reaching a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bunch of dead computers, and most of the stuff is built for humans. No Primarch built stuff here. And Arvida says, was this place ever used? And Yesugei says, there were many souls here for a long time. And the Khan's looking around all these dead computers and machines. I guess they're not called computers, they're called cogitators, because you can't have a computer. That's a thinking machine.
Mm.
So it has to be, I guess, put a human brain in it. There you go. And then now it's okay.
I feel like that would make it more of a thinking machine.
Well, that's different because it's organic.
Okay.
It's a person thinking versus the machine cannot think for itself. AI is illegal. Except for Mechanicus, and then they're like, no, I would never make an AI. Wink.
No, don't worry about that.
Don't look at that. There's nothing
suspicious ChatGPT logo.
Right. I don't know what that is. I'll take care of it. Just do whatever you're doing. So the Khan says, if we have learned one thing, it is how weak our safeguards were. Basically, he's like, we got a little too careless with the warp stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then he sees this like elevator shaft where there's a bunch of cables and there's power coils sunk into the walls. And all of a sudden he gets a flashback where he's seen this exact thing before. Years ago, he is wandering around an unfinished foundation of like this mountain being hollowed out into a palace. He walks past custodians and sigilite staff, sigilite staff. They didn't stop him because it's Primarch, let him do what he wants. And he kind of went past where he's supposed to go, way past into kind of like when you're at the airport and you go through like the construction area and you're like, should I be in this part of the airport? Yeah. So he's going to that part. And all of a sudden he sees this massive hall, so big. I mean, you can't even see the ceiling. There's like clouds up top. And there's cables running down from everywhere. And at the center is an empty stage. And all of a sudden he notices that the Emperor's standing next to him. He didn't even hear him coming. And the Khan says, I remember this. And then has a flashback. And he says to the Emperor, what is this place? And the Emperor says, the end of the crusade. That's all he was ever told.
Mm.
And he was hoping that he would get kind of a clarity on that, but nope, of course not.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's the golden thread, right? That's
yes.
Kind of, yeah.
And that's kind of what he's kind of realizing here is like this is the same kind of technology that's being built. That was built here.
Right.
And the book says Dark Glass had not been made by House Achelot. It was been made by the Emperor.
Mm.
And there's no time to kind of like think about it because Jubal calls through and says, Kagan, they are here. And all of a sudden, we're getting ready to rumble. So, and while the Khan is like looking at all these different pieces, Arvida got separated at some point. When you board things and things don't go well. And he started to walk through these different corridors. And some parts of this building don't look built. They look like they were grown. And he ends up alone in this circular chamber with a raised octagonal platform in the center. And under everything is a sound like foaming water, like of these rolling waves.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls Yesugei in the comm, and nothing comes back. And he keeps calling him, like, hello? And he's getting nothing. And where the book says is below where the rift circled, below is the eye into the abyss. So it's like this warp rift right below this platform.
Mm.
And Arvida almost knocks him on his feet because it's just like such a, like it almost feels like he's on a boat, like this roiling like ocean water. And he has to like setting himself because like, whoa, like it's like too much. Obviously, it's a psycho too. So it's also just like antagonizing him mentally. And they start to think though, if I sink into this feeling that I'm getting from this pool, would it make the flesh change stop? Would he cure his cancer finally? He says, I would have fought the wolves, but this is different. And all of a sudden he gets a vision. And he sees this black tower, impossible in scale, on a world lashed in lightning and colors that don't exist. And there are warped things dancing around it like moths. And he hears a voice repeating something. It says he cannot live. And then he sees his own brothers, 1,000 sons alive, and transformed, walking on that world in robes of crimson and azure, which are the Wordbearer's colors at the time. It was that red and blue. Azure, is it blue?
Yeah.
Azure, yeah, blue. And those red and blue colors, and they are working, studying, doing similar thing they did on Prospero, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And they're led by a figure that Arvida knows very well. And he's marked with the sign of the Raven, and it is basically Armin is there working. And then the voice just changes to what it's saying. It says, he lives. They're all alive. So Arvida realizes, oh, all my guys are dead. They're just on this planet doing something right now. I don't know what they're doing. And it's kind of a little future vision, like what they're working on.
Right.
And he says, no, you cannot cure it. No, not that way. Do not try that way. Basically, it's like, because they're trying to cure the flesh change through sorcery still. And Arvida's like, it's not going to work. It's going to make it worse. They can't hear him, obviously. He's having a vision.
Right.
So eventually he breaks out of this vision and then moves himself forward. And he doesn't know whether or not that vision is real or not. Like whether or not that was a true prophecy, what they're doing, or if it was like this is what could happen type thing. So he keeps moving through this chamber, and then back to Yesugei, him and Vale and their escort reach a chamber where the machines don't even look human. They're like these alien designs. And the readings that they have for these different readings, not sure what they were reading, warp energy, humidity, I don't know, right? Wind, they got a multimeter, electricity. So whatever.
Just the thermometer. And they're like, what is this?
Whoa, it's so cold over here. They had like, was it the EMF reader from like ghost shows?
Oh.
I'm getting a detection.
I'm getting something. It's the
technically a psycho just feels like I'm getting something all right. Whoa.
Oh yeah. Actually, like what's the game? This the Phasmophobia machine.
Yeah.
It's like the word box.
What's your name? Write down. It's a very noisy. It was Peter, right? So Yesugei feels it before he can name it, and he says something is aware of us. Keep away from the machines. He's like something weird, because like we talked about before, machines can get possessed too by demons. It's weird, but they can. It's like scrap code, right? It's a kind of version of that. So all of a sudden, a hololith snaps on this hologram of Peter Atchelu himself standing in the room. It looks so real that it feels like you can touch it, but it's a recording that was left running for whoever found this place, and it speaks to them across 50 years ago. And it says, "I can guess what you wish to learn." He said basically that he handpicked crew and ran in total secrecy for a very long time. He says 52 years and no disturbance, no hint of betrayal. But he says, "I do not see it as a failure what happened here. I see it as resolved beyond all expectation." But he blames the collapse on the Paternova, who has ever been against this policy. And then he also says the transgalar harmonics are operative. And they're kind of realizing he was making a warp, like a webway door in a way. I mean, they don't know what the webway, but like a door that lets you just jump to where you need to using this device. A teleporter, but like even better.
Okay.
So there's two words that he hears, that Yesugei hears us understand. It's via Cetus, which is the way of the throne. Doesn't know what that means. As much as it says the gate needs a specific soul to run it, and admits that the soul is unreachable. And it says it is no position to fulfill that role now. So he decides to try it himself, knowing the risk. And he says, "So I dare the infinite, Ave Imperator." And obviously, that was the last time they saw of Peter. So while Yesugei and Vale are kind of moving around based on this recording, the boarding party is starting to pull out of the ship because they're going to get attacked. Now, they still have time because they got to translate the system and slowly drift their way into Dark Glass to have this fight. So Jules sends a warning out, everybody get back to the ship so we can fight. And the Khans make his way back too, and he gets to his Stormbird, which is kind of their transport, like Space Marine 2, that thing at the beginning, when you're in Death Watch. I think it's a Thunderhawk, not a Stormbird, but they're very similar. It's transport.
Yeah, like a just transport ship.
I think a transport jet helicopter, basically.
Yeah, okay.
He sees one guy kind of walking towards him, stumbling and looking kind of out of it. And he says, "Wait." And he says, why are you alone? Where is Yesugei? He says, and Arvida says, "He is not here yet." And Jaghatai Khan says, "No time remains, he will follow." Basically, Arvida got lost somewhere. And he's like, "Wait, where's Arvida?" He says, I guess he got lost somewhere. He's like, "Where is he? I thought you guys were with him." Like, "I don't know where he is."
Okay. And Arvida was the one that went and saw like the big warp.
Yeah, the big warp eye. He had the big flashback, and then he came back because he was like, "All right, I got to get out of this because this is."
Okay. So we don't know what.
But he's dealing with Vale right now, dealing with the recordings and stuff like that. But they don't. Yeah, they thought they were together, but Arvida got split up. It was the whole thing.
Okay.
Because Arvida, he's basically talking to the Khan's talking to Arvida, saying like, "I thought you were with him." He's like, "No, I'm not. I thought you were with him." He's like, "Ah, whatever. He'll find his way back." So the hololith cuts out, and Vale is standing apart from the group and speaking in a voice that he didn't always have. He's very calm and certain. No more of that frightened survivor gimmick. He says, "The master of mankind," or "How do you not work that out for yourself?" He has two vortex charges in his hands, and these are grenades that are bad news. They basically open a rift and then sucks things into it sometimes, and then closes, and everything in there is gone and dead. Usually twice sent to the warp, honestly. It's like a warp grenade in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
He has two of them. So you don't want that. He said, "You should have left me at Harrowvale." Basically, this guy was tricking him the whole time. Obviously, right?
It's like,
"Oh, the last survivor. Oh, I bet he is good." I guess that one lady on Cygnus Prime was good, the blank.
Yeah.
But she was with a group of people, so I guess it's a little different.
Yeah, and I guess Arvida, like, has not been...
No, yeah. I mean, he's been mostly helpful. Yeah. I mean, also the flesh change is like, well, also is like going to get killed if he tries to do anything.
That's true. Yeah.
So, Yesugei goes reach out into his mind again, but he says there's a wall up. And he says, Vale says, "No, that will not help you either." He's basically, this guy's tapped in now. So they kind of like, "All right, well, let me talk him down a little bit, because like if he throws one of those grenades, it's over." And Vale tells him everything he wants to know, because he's like, "Well, it's over. Like, I'm going to kill you guys. I'm going to kill myself." He is an agent sent to sabotage a specific project because the Navigator houses knew exactly what would happen if this thing worked. And Vale says, Atchel was never charting the warp. He was creating a means to bypass it. The machines have been created, the greatest of them, the Sedum Aurum, is complete, and the universe screams against it, but there were others. There were prototypes. Yesugei says, prototypes of what? And Vale says, gates into hell. You are sitting on the threshold even now, and you do not see it. So, I mean, basically, it's a golden throne. There's a second golden throne made here, which has a weird implication.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought there was like one of a kind, but it's not the golden throne literally, but it's like a copy of the golden throne, which is also weird because the golden throne, and I don't know if we talk about Master of Mankind too much, but it's like, Emperor didn't make that on his own. He found it like buried in a desert and was like, that looks helpful and useful. So he's like, Mechanicus, bring that back to my palace. And we'll, and then Mechanicus worked on it, fixed it up. But it's like basically an ancient alien technology. And which they kind of say here too, like, oh, when they start moving through these hallways, they're like, this doesn't look human built anymore. So it could be the same principle here. So maybe this is like Old Ones tech or Eldar tech that the humans took over and started building. Could be something like that.
Yeah, like I guess also kind of, it's weird with the implications of like, at least from what I understood when we covered Master of Mankind, it was like the intention was that Magnus would kind of take over the Golden Throne, right? And so then if there's another one, who's supposed to be there, I guess?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, if it's supposed to be the Emperor or somebody on his level, and it says the Master of Mankind, it's supposed to use this one. So is the Emperor just on this one, and Magnus is on the one on Earth? But he says there are also other prototypes. So how many of their dark glasses are there?
Right.
So it's like, it's like a weird like reveal, like, okay, well, now you're creating more questions here. Like, what was going on? But anyways, and Yesugei says to him, we are not your enemy. And Vale agrees. He's like, it's too late though. So he goes to throw these charges, and Yesugei knocks the charge out of his hand, and one of them flies in the air and detonates and just opens this rift up and closes. Luckily, nobody was in it. But the other one, and the problem is it kind of took a chunk out of the space station. So it's like, we kind of like, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of warp star's leaking in now because like it always does. And the other one, Vale grabs quickly and slips over the micro detonator to send it off. And all of a sudden it explodes, opens up this rift. So back on the flight back, Arvida is not doing well. He's coughing blood. It's a whole thing. It's telling the Khan what happened to him in the station, the chamber, the tower, that the Thousand Sons are alive, and the whole thing. And he says, but I have seen it, my lord. I have seen what waits for mankind. And he says, do you hear me, Master of Chagoris? There is no victory. No victory. Jaghatai Khan, now, on any other day, he would have killed somebody for something like that. You say, I can't win? Little mind. But he says, I do not doubt your visions. And he tells Arvida, know this, son of Magnus, there is more under the arch of heaven than victory and defeat. We may fall back, but not forever. We may faint and we may weave, but not forever. We may be yet doomed to lose all we cherish, but we do so in the knowledge that we could have turned away and did not. And he says, we remain true. And they get ready to board the Swordstorm, and the Khan gets ready to move. And he says, but recover yourself swiftly. I want you with me. I need your witchery alongside my Arga. And Arvida's like, hey, you got it. Gets up, ready to go.
So I guess the Khan now know that Thousand Sons might be out there?
It's not really known if it's like, he's like, oh, I believe you 100%, or it's like, well, that could be warp magics.
Right, unreliable.
And that's kind of why he's like, any other person said something like that, I would have like thrown him in prison. Because now you're talking weird prophecy, warp magic seeing, you're going crazy. So it's like, he doesn't know, but at the same time, it's like, well, who knows? Like, I don't have time to think about that right now. We're about to, because he says, my brother Mortarion is here, and this time he does not come to convert us. Like, we'll cover that later. Right now, I need you to stop coughing blood and help me. And Arvida says, hey, you got it.
Yes.
So, right on cue, the Endurance crashes right in, and they start shooting, and they start fighting over dark glass. And the White Scar's vessels are taking its shields up, doing close attack runs, and then getting out of the way, doing their whole tactics. But the problem is they're getting swatted out of the void by these flak cannons that other ships have. And on the far side of the etheric sphere, like the solar system, the Proud Heart is showing up as well. And Eidolon's ships are fighting the way they fight, flamboyant and reckless. And they're getting kind of pieced up a little bit here, but they don't care. They enjoy it. And Mortarion is watching it from his bridge and talks to his siege master, Calgaro, and says, Calgaro says, they will race to their deaths. Mortarion says, yet their vigor serves us well. Let them soak up the fury. We will reap the harvest. Because you get the sight, the big sight. And in this little image here, the classic Mortarion, the epic scale one. Him in a big sight because he's just death.
Yeah,
Wings.
just-
Which one he has wings in this because he doesn't have wings in normal. Like this is what he looks like right now.
yeah.
No wings, just smoke. All that smog.
Yeah, and I know in the other one, he's literally just like a skeleton.
Yeah, he's just a death with wings.
Yeah.
One Emperor's Children Best, though, ignores the battle plan, and Cario has picked Shiban's frigate, and he's like, I'm going right after him. That guy's mine. He says, keep fixed on it, no deviation. Can do what he wishes, but that one is ours. So he's for 5 years for this moment. So yes, we're going back to the blast, the grenade blast. Yesugei, he survives it because he's in the nick of time, set up his staff to create this shield around him, this warp shield. Now, it killed Vale and a bunch of other Space Marines around them, and it cut through some conduits in the walls, and the chamber just blows up. And Yesugei falls down through these decks and gets thrown around and pinballed around the whole thing, all the way down to the bottom of the station. He's fine, though. It's whatever. There's no fall damage. And it's kind of funny, too, like Space Marine 2, like fall off like a 40-foot drop where you just like hit the ground. You're like, all right, I'm good.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Walk it off. Yesugei's walking through this system. He starts seeing kind of the truth of the whole place, right? Every machine, every conduit, and every deck above him feeds into one integrated structure. And he sees this throne built for someone far larger than like a regular human. And there's a charred corpse on it, and he can assume it's Achelu. And he's like, this was Achelu, what he had tried to do. And it says the throne was a machine, the machine was the throne. It had never been made for mortals. And he remembers what the recording said. Only the nominated Primarch has the strength to maintain an active link. So, and there's no Primarch around to take the seat. So Yesugei pulls his wood body from it and climbs on it anyways.
So he's talking about like I guess actually was talking about was he talking about a specific Primarch or just
anybody that had that power?
Okay.
I mean, because looking at the throne, it's like so massive. It's like looking at a kid sitting in like, I'm trying to think of like an example, like a big chair. I don't know. Like if you put like a baby on like a lazy boy chair.
Right.
That's what it looks like. It's just like, that's not made for you. So this little scene, so it's like it's built like a Primarch who's massive, or even the Emperor who's just as big, right?
Yeah.
So he pulls his little husk off of it and he climbs on it. He's like, I mean, we got to get out of here. You know, I got to open the portal. And it's like, maybe I can do it. We'll see. And so now as he's sitting on it, every wound that Yesugei has taken with ordinary pain. He's been shot before, he's been stabbed, been cut, burned, all of it. Normal pain I can handle with Space Marine. But this kind of pain, this is different. This is like a brain, nerve, the most painful pain you can imagine, apparently. And as he's doing this and getting slurped up by the chair, he sends his mind up to 3 different people. One's to Arvida, and he says, they'll need a guide, brother. The way will be dark, and only you have the sight. You will need to control the sickness for just a little longer, I think. And then to Rebellion says, I would have sheltered you if I could. You above all, for you are our soul. Says, do not grieve. We were made to do this. We were made to die. And we actually a lot with these moments of a Space Marines like killing themselves because like they know that they won't retire. It's not a job you retire from.
Right.
And then we talk about, do Space Marines ever die of old age? No, because they just die.
Yeah.
They just go out and fight wars until they die. Like there is no end. And like it says, only in death is due the end. But even sometimes not. You get put in a dreadnought and then you keep moving.
Death is the end until it's not.
Until we need you to come back. Hey, buddy, you're not done yet. And then you go crazy in the dreadnought suit and then maybe we'll put you down. So yeah, it's brutal. Because obviously she's a human. She doesn't see it that way. Right. The other Space Marines are like, nice one, brother. Yeah. And then he sends one to the Khan and the Khan tells him to stop. You're going to die. And he says, it's too late. It's too late now. So yes, he sends a little joke back to him. He's like, it is what it is. He says, in the beginning, I was Shanaz. Remember that? You named me. He says, you are their protector. Do not let them become what is hateful. And then the last word he says to himself, because his mind link's cut off, he says, open. And all of a sudden, this massive rift opens up. This gate blows up the entire dark glass in the process, though.
Right.
So the dark glass tears itself open, and the rift opens up, and it is held together by like Yesugei basically getting turned to ash in real time. It is not pretty. And Arvida understands what's going on here, and he says, this is it, the path of heaven. He has opened it, and there will never be another chance. Like, we have to, if we don't leave now, it's over. The Stargate closes.
Right.
Ilya gets between Khan and Arvida, and she said, there is no choice. He did this. Honor him. Take the path. And behind them, the Endurance is creeping up. As Mortarion does, he creeps up on you.
Just hearing about like these ships and like oh, they jump to the edge of the system and they slowly come in. I'm just imagining like there's like a big battle going on like, any day now.
I'm gonna get once we get there.
They're not ready for when I get there.
Picture of how the ships look. I don't. But yeah, it's basically just like whales fighting because they slowly drift towards you. Like once I get there, it's over. But you might also send like small boarding crews of like little Thunderhawks or gunships to kind of zoom ahead of you to take care of the stuff in the meantime. Or you might send boarding pods to shoot them off the side and punch through their ship. So it's a lot. Once they actually connect, it's like ship battles in the ocean.
Yeah,
it's a very similar thing, but with more technology.
Yeah, I can't get past just something that's like
the Endurance is creeping up behind them.
Just you wait.
Once we get you, it's like you're chasing white scars. You can't.
Yeah.
But at this point, they're totally surrounded in this system.
Yeah.
So they really know where they can go except through this portal. So yes, the Endurance is creeping up on them, and it's getting closer. And only one ship can kind of distract it in the meantime, because Endurance is a flagship, which means it is a probably one of the biggest ships that this Legion has. So it is not going to be taken out easily. I mean, this is the white whale, right? This is the blue whale of ships. So they only have one ship that can do something about it. And Arvida sees where Khan's mind is going. He says, Lord, if you fight him, the chance will be gone. There will be other days. And the Khan thinks about it. He's thinking about all the last 5 years. The last time he fought him was on Prospera. That was 5 years ago. And he says, not for Targate, not for Ja. My wars have died for me this day, and every day since my whoreson brother ignited his treachery. So he's getting them now. I have watched them die year by year, their strength taken from them. No further. I will slay him if I do nothing else. And then he says, order all ships into the rift, full burn. And then he says, but not this one. Set course, intercept the Endurance. So he tells his own flagship to peel away while everybody else escapes.
Okay.
So with no escorts have to protect it, the Swordstorm goes straight for the Endurance and is getting just lit up. I mean, I wish I had a picture of it, but the Endurance is a big ship. I mean, the Death Guard all about big, slow, wearing you down. I mean, it's called the Endurance, you know, it just outlasts you. It's a marathon, not a sprint with that thing. White Scars are a sprint, though.
Yeah.
But it's getting lit up. So Mortarion says one thing, he says, concentrate all fire on that flagship, break it open. I care not for the rest of this rabble. Deliver that one to me. What he doesn't realize is the Khan was ever aboard. Ilya was along the Sagar Mazan, and the armory crews hand out storm shields and power weapons, and she watched Torghans get reinstated. So they decided, they say, let us die for this instead. So she never doubted, like she always knew they were in this route back. And then she finally getting them to watch, like, now this is a choice. Now we get to die for what we want to do. So they drop in to spring this trap, and Torghan meets Mortarion. He says, hail, Lord of Death, Torghan Khan greets you. And Mortarion says, why do this? And Torghan says, atonement at last. And Mortarion says, no such thing exists, because he's a big baby. And he says, no, everything sucks all the time. It's like, man, hang out with curves. You guys get along great.
Yeah.
Aboard the Ravisher, which is a Imperial children's ship. There's a lot of ship names here. Konenos watches Karios ship, like, is just blasting into Shiban's retreating frigate, and he's like, oh, it's a simple bloodlust. They're just trying to kill him. He says, I have other business in mind. So Von Kalda has promised Konenos something bigger. He says, well, Konenos says they will be ours to leash, greater weapons than we've ever known, and bound by your words of command. And below him, they see 100 of the Noise Marines. So that's not good, because how are you going to fight those guys?
Right.
That's Xin Qa. That's what took out Xin Qa.
Is there, like, I guess right now there's nothing to counter the Noise Marines. Eventually, is there anything?
Not really. I mean, it's just sound. Like, I guess we have, like, maybe a type of shield, but it's like, the only thing you can block sound is like silence. It's like a cast silence spell. So I don't know. So yes, so they do the sound machines, and then Arado, who is the second of Konenos, something wrong in the torpedo lighting up that he sees. He says, no, not the suzerain, it's prey. And Konenos goes to answer him, and he can't. He obviously can't speak, and neither does anyone else. And all of a sudden, something gets into Konenos' brain, and it says, I had you marked from the start. So many gifts, so much to play with. And all of a sudden, Konenos bursts apart, and this demon appears. And that's where this Keeper of Secrets appears. This thing is big. I mean, you can see here on the book cover them fighting them, and like that's the Primarch, right? Like this thing is towering over him.
Oh yeah.
So these things aren't small.
Yeah.
It's got like hooked feet, it's the lobster claws, its horns, little BDSM face thing going on. It's the whole thing. So this thing appears, and aboard the Suzerain, eventually Shiban boarding action reaches the Palatine Blades. And they're fighting. He says, for the Khan, for Taxir, this guy Jochi is yelling. And he meets the Prefector, I forget his name, Cario, and it is violet and blue, and loses. And knocks his blade out of his hand, and the second gets to his gorget, which is the neck guard thing. And Shiban launches to stop Jochi from getting killed, but it's too late. But then after that, Shiban hits Cario away, and he starts getting angry. He says, I know you. And he says, I have hunted you since Memnos. What do you name, Steel Helm? He says, you wish to know my name? taming of the planes. And the fight carries them across the whole ship until Shiban finally corners Cario in a duel with no one to interrupt them anymore. And Cario is winning. I mean, he's Palatine Blade, he's the best sword fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And he breaks Shiban's glaive, and he starts like getting him about faith, purity, the futility of resistance, the whole monologue. He says, your effort is wasted, your gods are slain, your idol is broken. This is now a world of greater powers. And he's getting ready to kill him. He's got the sword up in the air to go to strike, but all of a sudden a massive explosion lights up the window behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ravisher, which is Konano's ship, has come apart, and Abus records a horde of demons led by that greater demon.
Mm.
And it kind of distracts Cario, and he feels this pressure building out from his armor because of that demon, that warp energy, just seeing that is starting to affect him.
Mm. Okay.
And he's starting to want that to dip into that a little bit. I mean, because that's what these greater demons do. Like we talked about with Cygnus Prime, with Kabanda, goodness.
Mm.
How just being around him makes the bloody angels just vicious killing machines. It just activated the red thirst like instantly.
Right.
Same thing with the greater demon of Slaanesh. It just makes you want to get into those urges just right away.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie has always kept that away because he's good discipline. But when you see one of these things coming towards you, you're like, a little bit. But the problem is, during that moment of him getting distracted, Shiban takes the sword out of his hand and stabbed Cario right in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
And it knocks down Cario, and Shiban raises the blade again and gives Cario one last thought before he finishes him off. And he says, you were as doomed as I, but that, my brother, was well fought. And Cario gets stabs him right in his heart, kills him out. Last words are unsullied. Basically, he died like a warrior.
Mm.
He never wanted to be a demon like the rest of those Emperor's children.
Right.
Almost did.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe a little bit at the
He
end.
dipped in a little bit. Obviously, didn't help him, though.
But what if I did it?
I mean, now I'm thinking about it. But yes, so once you're clear of Dark Glass, Arvida's flesh change actually eases up a little bit inside the gate. Because, like we said, it cuts off the warp around it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a warp cancer. So actually, it's a little healthiness.
Right.
And he starts projecting his mind ahead as a beacon for the other navigators to follow. Now, he can't take them all the way to Terra, though. Yesugei's one-way gate opening, because cooked him away at this point.
Right.
So, what they have to do is get close enough to the edge of the solar system to just kind of use their navigators to figure out the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So, 9 Stormseers stand by the bridge, and they are starting to get attacked on demons. The demons are getting through the Lance of Heaven because the Geller shields are working, and they're taking too much damage, and the demons are starting to pour in, because that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sound that the Khan has heard before. And he remembers, it was growing up on Shogoros, a similar sound of ice and fire attacked him as a child on Shogoros. I think he ended up killing this demon as a kid. Was he a greater demon? Probably not. But yes. So he was afraid as a child because it's like, oh, this beast is going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
But this time he's not afraid. And he rallies his whole bridge to hold the line around Arvida's defenseless body, because he's like doing this whole process of like the outward projection.
Right.
But the Horde wants to kill him specifically. So if you kill him, they're dead in the water there.
Mm.
So Jaghatai says, we are now in the realm of gods. This is their place where they do not suffer the mortal to endure. And he says, we are Talskar, sons of Shogoros, and this is the last test. To the ends of time, we defy the dark. So what used to be Kononos, that greater demon, shows up on the bridge, a keeper of secrets. It is fighting, and it is 3 times the Khan's height. I mean, this thing, you see the pitch there, it's massive.
Yeah.
And it greets him with a name, and it says, hail, son of Anathema, you are far from home. Son of Anathema, because the Emperor is Anathema. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw that during Master of Mankind, when the demons were terrified of the Emperor, because he can truly kill them.
Right.
And that's scary. So, except for Dracnian, the first murder.
Mm-hmm.
That one got him.
Mm.
But anyways, and Jaghatai says, bar my way, Yaksha, and I will end you. And the demon says, yeah, I don't know about that. But then he starts getting on him a little bit too. He says, you care much for that Storm Witch, I think. Kind of getting him about Yesugei.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of trying to get his emotions against him. And it talks about throne technology too. And it says, you don't even know what you're doing. You're messing around with stuff. You have no idea. You don't even know. You haven't even scratched the surface.
Mm-hmm.
I know, because I'm a demon. And it says, soul engines were not meant for your kind. And the demon breaks the Khan's sword and shatters apart. And he closes the distance barehanded, and all of a sudden just strangles it to death. Just raw brute force, like Fulgrim with that Avatar Arcane, even though somehow the Avatar Arcane got choked to death, even though his blood is made of lava. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yes, he chokes this demon to death, and then he rips his heart out, which actually kills it.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't choke it to death, but enough where you get the heart out.
Yeah.
Which is funny that the demon has a heart.
That's true. Yeah.
And he says, "For the Emperor."
So the demon referencing like the soul engine, I'm assuming that's talking about like the thrones and the dark glass.
Right. Yes.
Okay,
Things
yeah.
like that, because it is alien technology, and it's just like that way of movement. It's like you don't even know what you're messing with.
Right. So I guess does that mean it's alien technology, or does it mean it's like, I don't even know if there are things that are made by like demons or like but I don't know.
I mean, there could be demon influenced people building it, and that's the tricky part. I mean, it's assumed that it's like kind of an Eldar Necron maybe technology thing, maybe Dark Age of technology even,
Okay.
like this ancient tech that nobody knows how it works because all that stuff got lost during the when Slaanesh was born. So it was something like that, right? Where it's like we don't know who built it, but we made it work,
Right.
and that's really everything with the Mechanicus as well. They have no idea how anything works because the people that came before them are all dead. So it kind of stacks things on top of things on top of things, and they're like, as long as it keeps working, that's so they do so many prayers and machines because like, please work, because I don't know how to fix you if you break. It's like you trying to use like a typewriter. Like if it breaks, like I don't know how to fix a typewriter. This is like
Right.
beyond me. Obviously, people do nowadays because it's not like. But let's say a whole generation of humans that built the typewriter are all dead, and there's no more manuals, or it's in a language you can't read. So you're like, I think this is how it works. So it's kind of like that. It's very difficult to know. Now the Emperor may know. I'm not going to tell anybody though. And some Mechanicus may know because they helped build it. So
Right.
it's weird. It's kind of a mystery in that way, and I think it's good because it's like if it just says Eldar built it, it's like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, maybe the Necron built it. Maybe the old ones built it. Who knows?
Yeah. It is funny to me that like, it feels like, oh, the Emperor probably knows how to do it. And it's like, he's like, I'm just not going to tell people that.
Yeah, just don't worry about that. That's
Okay.
that's my information. I wonder why everything failed. But yeah, so Torghan is now fighting Mortarion, and Mortarion, I mean, cleans him up, right? You can't. He's Mortarion. He's a Primarch.
Yeah.
And he takes the helmet off to look at his face, and he sees him smiling, and he's so confused. He's like, "Why? Like, you guys are so weird. You just smile in death. Strange. I would never smile in death. I'm always dour. I'm always in a bad mood.
No one understands.
No one understands my struggle." Eventually, the Sword Storm's shields fail, and they destroy it. Right, that ship's gone, and all the White Scars that the Sagir Mazan are all dead. Eventually, he finds Eidolon, and they greet each other. And Eidolon says, "Fled, my lord. He runs from you, and the warp will not be kind." And Mortarion says, "Victory? One record in the annals. Like, we didn't win. What are you talking about? He got away." So he's pretty mad about that. He's like, "We had him. He was that close." And he killed 132 warriors though, so still got a lot of the White Scars.
Right.
But what sticks with him is that they were so eager to fight him. It's like so just ran into their deaths like orcs, like, and they loving it. I mean, White Scars and orcs kind of similar, maybe not really, but they both like fighting. They both like moving fast.
Right.
And to him, because Mortarion counts it as a loss, which I mean, basically it is. You lost.
Yeah.
They got away. And he decides that the only answer left is like, we got to get even stronger now. And he says, "I will be at the War Master's side. I will take her place at the vanguard and give the Legion to the honor it deserves. But not without our full strength, not without those who were there at the start. So take me to my first captain. Bring me Callus Typhon." And we know Callus Typhon, that sneaky guy.
I know the last thing we talked about him was the end of the
Caliban
stuff.
Yeah, where he gave Lucer that medal and said, "Hold on to that."
Yeah, and then he showed up at the end, right?
Yeah, he showed up on the end and was like, "I can help too."
Yeah.
So see how that plays out. So the con makes it back. They kill the demons on board. And Leman Russ is kind of patrolling the outer area of the solar system. And they intercept White Scars 2 weeks out from Terra. So since they're at the end of the solar system, it would take 2 weeks from farther than Pluto to get to Earth. So they intercepted. And Russ is still pretty mad about Alexis. Remember, they left him there to die. He's like, "I don't know if I can trust you." And says, "Jaghatai, damn you should have not come back." And the Khan teleports alone by himself, unarmed, still pretty heavily from fighting a demon. And Russ takes out his sword anyways, and close enough to like he could take him out right now. And he asks him questions. He says, "Do you know my brother? How many of my sons died at Alaxis?" And the Khan says, "We had to be sure. Look, man, we couldn't trust nobody." It's like, but like to me, like totally reasonable.
Yeah.
I go help you guys. Actually, Alpha Legion was tricking us, and now you and the Space Wolves are going to kill us. And also, you killed my friend.
Right.
Like you killed Magnus. I like Magnus, so it's like it's totally reasonable thing.
Yeah, and I know they were getting like, aren't they getting like mixed messages from, was it Alpha Legion or somebody else, right? Or
I was saying, actually, he's gone renegade. Leman Russ is killing all the Primarchs or something like that. So he's like, I don't know. Sorry, but like, I had to be sure.
Yeah.
And Russ gets right in his face, breathing with stinky breath on him. And it says, "And did you find that surety? Do you still name me the Butcher Prospero?" And Khan says, I saw your work and I traveled beyond it. Yes, I found surety, but if you're looking for blood debt, then I have none to give you, for we have paid our own price. And Russ says, many name you as a traitor in the palace, Jaghatai. You know this? I could kill you here, where you would stand, and few would mourn. And Khan says, I bring no weapons, brother. Strike me if you wish, but know that I come through the fires of hell to bring my sons to Terra. No one, not you, not Horus, not even our father, will prevent me from bringing them to where they were destined to be. And Russ says, that's a good point. Whatever. Fine, whatever. And he like swings his sword at him and almost hits him. He's like, you always were a pompous bastard. So he puts his sword away, and then he's like, all right, I'm not going to come back to Terra just yet, though. I still have to take care of some stuff out here. And the Khan says, save for those who come at my heels. And Malkador, and Leonor says, Malkador will welcome your blades, if you can make your peace with them. And Khan says, I told you I wish to fight beside you again, just as we were meant to. And Russ says, be assured the day will come. So they're cool now, mostly. Aboard the Suzerain, which is another White Star ship, Shiban keeps Joshi's recovered pauldron and kind of sitting there with it, kind of thinking about, like, oh, obviously Joshi died and all that stuff. And Ilya finds him there, and she's still upset about Yesugei. Well, his name's Yesugei. Yes. And Shiban says that she was right with Torghan the whole time. Says he was fond of everyone. Yesugei was also fond of Shiban specifically. And she says, I shall miss him, Shiban. And she tells him that Torghan died laughing. And Shiban says, that is good to know. And I was like, how do you know that? But whatever. Just trust me. I know, probably. I know. I was there. And she says, I envy them both. That is shameful, is it not? But it is true. And she asks them, can you see it? Tell me truly, can you see it? Basically, there's a chance of victory. And he says, after all this, we remain ourselves. Yesugei would have called that victory. So it really goes back to what Khan said at the beginning. It's like, as long as we do try our best, then that's winning. Right. They did try their best. They didn't escape. So they did win. And then Khan talks to Jabal about Dark Glass. He says it was a failure, a dead end. And Jabal says, nonetheless, a failure that opened the path of heaven. And Khan says, we kept the faith, Jabal. We fought, we overcame, and now at last we're going home. And as they return, Arvida's flesh change relapses once they get out of the warp. And the Storm Shooters can't help him anymore. He is like, I mean, it's almost over for him. And before the fleet reaches Terra, a stranger appears on the ship. Somehow, they don't even know how. It's named Khalid Hassan, who works for Malkador. And they ask, who are you? And he says, chosen of Malkador. And he says, I do not think you know just what you have here. He says, what would Malkador have in a dying sorcerer? Like, what? It's Arvida. What's so special about him? And Hassan says, because we've been waiting for him, and now at last he is here. He does not explain that, though. And that's where it ends. So a little plot twist, cliffhanger. There you go. Yeah. I mixed them together. But yes, any questions about all that?
Let me think. I don't.
As you all dying. She's smiling. Have a great time.
Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know if I have that many questions. I felt like it was pretty easy to follow on my end, at least. Like, I guess the Keeper of Secrets, that is,
Greater Demon Slaanesh.
That got killed.
Yes.
By
Choked him out and ripped his heart out.
So the like webway tunnels or whatever, however you want to think about it, is that, I'm trying to think how to word it. Is that like a tunnel where, like, inside that tunnel there is no warp? I guess
kind of, yes. It is a capillary. Think of it like a vein that spreads out through the warp. But it's also like goes around it. Now, if there are cracks in it, then things can seep in, right? Like demons and stuff. And that's kind of the problem they're having. But it is a perfectly recovered tunnel, like repaired and stuff. It totally like around the warp. You don't even have to deal with the warp at all. Like think we're talking about like the Hyperloop, right? If it actually was useful, like you don't have to worry about traffic on top because you're going through this other way that you're totally safe from anything to get you. So it's kind of like that. It's a, what's the word? Like a not shortcut, but it's a
like a highway type.
Like a highway that is like a tunnel through the warp. That, think of it like the Manhattan Tunnel in New York, where it goes underwater. If that cracks open, that water's going to spill in, and then you're going to have a big problem.
Right.
But it probably won't. But it does sometimes, and you have demons show up. But the Emperor his whole project was trying to make sure that they could use these tunnels, because then they don't ever have to deal with the warp. And that means the warp doesn't get power from you because you're not going through it, and they're eating your souls. Now, that doesn't necessarily make sense because Psychos would still exist, but it's a whole thing.
It's fine.
But also navigators don't want it to exist either because then they lose all their money and like power. Well, that's kind of what the whole thing with Dark Glass was, is that like the Navigator House is like, hey, you can't build that because then we don't have any representation anymore. So it's also political.
Right. And that's what I was going to say next is, I guess, Vale and the Navigators wanted to destroy that because they would basically be rendered obsolete, right?
Yes.
If that kind of came to fruition.
Yeah, because you would just map out the webway and then that was it. You just have your map.
Yeah.
Whereas the warp, you can't really map the warp. I mean, Navigators kind of can, but even still, they have to like filter out the noise and tune into paths that they can take. That's like the most safe path. I don't know if you played Rogue Trader.
No.
In Rogue Trader, you do warp jumps and you see kind of how it manifests. Like you do like a pulse outwards and they kind of look around and they see like different paths that can take them to different systems. Now you can't, and it's better to take a shorter distance. The longer you're in the warp, the more dangerous it becomes. So even if you have regular fields up, it still can be pretty dangerous.
So they can find a way through it, but even then, the webway, let's say, if it did work, would be completely warp free.
Yeah,
right?
There'll be they can't get in there. I mean, they could try, but unless there's like somehow like the problem was the webway was never finished, and it got damaged by wars and stuff like that. The war in the webway was, I mean, when the traders went in there too, right? Because they're talking about Master Mankind, how they found World Leaders helmets. Like, oh, traders are in here breaking it apart as well to get more demons in here, to try to get to Terra specifically,
right? Or
even going all the way back to the War in Heaven, that never got finished because the War in Heaven didn't work out for the old ones who started the webway. The Elder also built it as well, but the Elder had their own problems with Slaanesh, so it's like it never got finished. The superhighway is just sitting there, and the Emperor's like, "That's a great idea. I should finish it," and then he can't finish it either. Because it's just the demons don't want to exist.
Right.
They would be very bad for them to be. So they're trying their best and they're succeeding. Even this one, Dark Glass, it's like sort of opened up that tunnel they go through, but it's gone now. Can't use it anymore.
Yeah, and even then, it sounds like they still encountered demons in there, right? And so it's not...
Well, because it only took them a certain distance before they had to actually start doing warp jumps to get back to Terra.
Right.
So he couldn't hold it open long enough to get the full thing of it. And that was the problem. Whereas maybe a Magnus sits on there, maybe he could hold the thing open long enough. Emperor sits on there. So it's a whole mystery kind of thing.
Yeah. And I guess I am curious, do we know why Achalu was, I guess, investigating, working on this? Like, if that would render his, like, not species, but like, I guess, faction.
I guess he saw the bigger picture.
Okay.
And he was like, it doesn't matter as long as we can, like, for the benefit. Whereas Vale his whole thing was greed, basically. It's like, oh no, if you do this, then we don't get to do what we want to do anymore. It's just like, are you dumb?
Huh?
It's like Don't Look Up, that movie, where it's just like, you realize like the world's gonna end, right? And they're like, yeah, but like we can make a little more money, right? It's like, what do you mean? I mean, global warming, right? It's like basically that. It's like we can get a little bit more money out of throwing toxic waste into the ocean, right? It's like, stop doing that. But guys, because the line needs to go up. Come on. So, or I mean, even going back, electric cars used to exist back in like the 1930s. But Henry Ford was like, no, I don't think so. You got to keep buying gas cars. And then they stopped making them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, where it's just like greed just gets in the way of benefits for humanity. Because even back then, they knew about the costs that smoke had on the environment.
Right.
CO2 and stuff like that. They're talking about like the 1910. They're like, yeah, it's not factories. I think it's going to cause a problem.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking of the example of like light bulbs. I don't know if you've heard of it like that. Like, they basically perfected light bulbs like forever ago, and they're like, but we need to make them planned obsolescence or whatever.
Right.
You have to keep.
They have to keep buying them. So yeah, because they could run forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some would still break naturally, but they wouldn't break as often as they do.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, there's a thing as a light bulb that's still running from like 1910.
Yeah, I would say that. I think there's one out there, but yeah. I'm trying to think of any other question with the episode. I don't think so. So Eidolon's still out there, right? I guess Cario is
dead.
Yeah, and then the other guy, he also like exploded because the demon, right?
Yeah. Konenos, he turned into the demon.
Yeah,
and then the demon got killed.
Okay. Yeah,
by the Khan. And then Jubal is dead. No, he's not dead.
No, it was
Torghan. Torghan is dead.
And Ilya's also alive, right?
Yes, she's with them with the Khan. Arvida's alive, but he's hanging in there. Yeah, Mortarion's alive. Yeah, so yeah. Well, all right. Well, if that's all, then we'll wrap it up here. A bit of a long one today, but that's okay. It happens. There's a lot of detail we to get into. But anyways, if you guys like this one, like it, subscribe, tell your friends, do all this stuff. And in the comments,
what's your favorite Warhammer game?
Yeah, what's your favorite Warhammer game? Even Tau Fire Warrior, if you wanted that one. So yeah, we do that one. So what's your favorite, Warhammer game? There you go. It could be Vermintide.
Mm.
You can do the fantasy ones. You can be Total War Warhammer
Mhm.
or we Space Marine 2. Anyways, but that's all. Until next time. Bye.